Hello, hello, hello. Yes, this is your host, Matt Morgan, and you're listening to another episode of Car Musings. How's everybody doing today? How are you doing today on this day? If it's the day or it's the night, I'm not sure, but how you're tuning in today. How is your day? Is it a good day? I'm hoping it is. You know, we have bad days, we have good days, but I'm hoping today is definitely a good one for you. So, anyways, thanks for tuning in today to today's episode of Car Musings. I'm just out and about. I'm running errands and all that stuff, and I'm like, you know what? I think it's time for another episode. You know, I'm like, what the hell? Let's do another episode. We're stuck in traffic. I got a long way to go, and I'm like, you know what? Let's do a little bit of recordings and stuff like that. Now, you really got me thinking, and this is the interesting part when it comes to life, and this is what we're going to talk about today. But before we get into that, hey, check out themadmorgan.com, please, for more information on this, that, and everything else. We have resources up there. We add a lot of stuff, helpful stuff that we possibly can, and we appreciate any support you can give us, whether you tell people about us or share us or, you know, make a donation to keep us afloat. That'd be great. Excellent. Anyways, today what I want to talk about is this. Think about your life. Now, sometimes we have rocky beginnings, sometimes we have, easy beginnings, but it really all depends. But when we're kids, it's really a difficult time, right? There's uncertainties, there's this, there's that. So it's either you fall into, one or two scopes, maybe three. You're either really liked and everybody likes you and you're friends with a lot of people, or you're on the opposite side where you're an outcast, and nobody likes you and you're picked on, or you're the in between where you just manage to blend into the background and nobody really notices you. So it's either, one of these three extremes, one being neutral, of course. But do you ever notice that no matter who you call friend growing up, because when you're a kid, you think that everybody's your friend, anybody that's nice to you is a friend, anybody that'll talk to you is a friend. Anybody that'll share their lunch, your snacks with you, or your lunch with you, their friend. Anybody that'll share crayons with you. I mean, the list is endless. I mean, the benchmark, the qualifying point for being a friend when you're a kid is very minimal. It really is minimal. There's really not much to it. It's kind of like just look my direction. Yes, you're my friend now. And since we've hung out consecutively for two or three times, you're now my best friend. That's a completely different thing altogether, the best friend thing. I know it took a while for my daughter to figure that out about best friends. There's best friends, which is a best friend, is the best of the friends. So it's usually singular, one person, but to say that they're my best friends, I don't know. Usually you got to pick one that's usually top of everybody else, right? So But back to the thing about friends and relationships and knowing people and all that stuff like that. It's very interesting. I find that we have all these people that seem to we gather them, right? We gather them like we do, lost socks in the dryer. But we gather them. We have all these friends that we call friends, and we go through life. We go through grade school. We go into junior high school, depending on which part of the world you're in, and then we go into high school. And it's interesting because we don't necessarily retain our childhood friends forever. Some do, some don't. Some their forever friends usually happen later on in life, or can happen later on in life. Not usually, but they can happen later on. I know me personally, my friends like for the longest time, like my childhood friend, he went cray cray. He went fucking batshit crazy. So, and then of course the next in line, he's a shut in, basically hiding from some legal matters. And then of course there was one of the four pack that actually came a little later on, which frankly I still acknowledge him as a friend, but he's kind of like way busy working 14-hour days and 10,000 jobs. All that aside, now, as you get older, your definitions of friends change. Your definitions of a lot of things change. Your purpose to other people and your meaning to other people seems to change. We lose that innocence of that simple part that was once us when we were kids, right? Where the simplest of gestures classified somebody as a friend. And we've also lost a lot of that, what we're willing to do when it comes to friendship and the effort we put into it. Because, I don't know, you can know somebody, you can call them an acquaintance, you can call them a colleague, but, if you share enough about yourself, enough about your life, when does it define later on in life? Like, as a childhood, it's sharing crayons, but when does it define later on in life that you're more than just, um, acquaintances or colleagues, right? I think personal details, intimate details, hanging out a few times, kind of like some sort of emotional or mental or spiritual bond. I think that kind of justifies beyond just an acquaintance. I think it's more so gets into the friend category, even if it's a friend acquaintance type thing. And there's always classifications. Are they good friends? Are they best friends? Are they just friends? Are they acquaintances? Are they colleagues? Are they associates? And it's really interesting. Now, I guess my point being here is depending on how old you are, do you collect people? Because I know people that think that the more people that they try to friend on Facebook, they mean they're freaking popular. I know some idiots that max out their friends list on Facebook and they think, oh shit, everybody likes me. I am so freaking popular because you hit a button to add friend. Doesn't make you popular. Doesn't make you popular. It just means people got nothing better to do than be associated with you on a social media platform, which means squat. But okay, that's fair enough. You can consider yourself popular. That's okay. It doesn't mean that's how it is, but you can. Fair enough. But think about realistically. Let's get back to earth and real life, right? Let's think about the real life scenario of what constitutes as a friend, right? What constitutes as, you know, somebody that you can rely on, somebody that's a friend, somebody that you can, I don't know, kind of rely on, kind of spill your guts to, somebody that will be there to help you, somebody to help you move. You know, as we get later on in life, we notice that these numbers get less and less and less. Sometimes we fool ourselves thinking in that we actually do have more friends than we do, and that people actually do like us and respect us. You get a whole mindset of people thinking, oh, well, blah, 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 blah. We go out, we hang out, blah, 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 blah. And in all honesty, unfortunately, a lot of people are just serving themselves any way that they possibly can to basically rationalize the fact that nobody likes them. But they cling on to those like-minded individuals that basically all feel the same way, and they're their own support group, which is interestingly enough, right? They're so insecure about themselves, or they have this whole persona. They've managed to get to that pinnacle of people admiring them or liking them, and they're actually really big assholes, but they love the attention of all these people admiring them, So, they play the parts because it's like, oh, it's a rush. It's a rush that all these people like me. It's a rush that all these people want to be my friend and around me. And so I'm talking to you, PC, you cocksucker. I've seen beyond your bullshit, right? Actions speak louder than words, my friend. Just saying. So you're not the righteous motherfucker that you present yourself to be, and a bunch of you other fuckers, you're falling for that shit. I know SG did, and I know a bunch of others, but you see, that's the thing, right? There's these people that come up with this whole persona, to make themselves seem like, top dog, but they're really scared cowards, unfortunately, and they're really not as righteous and they're not really that full of integrity as you think. And it takes the outcast generally to recognize this. The one that sits back and watches and looks at all the angles, right? Yeah, lo and behold, that is me. I'm the outcast. I've always been an outcast. I was never popular. I was the ugly duckling in grade school. Got my own when I was actually in high school. Became popular and everything else, and learned to work it you know, when I had it. But forever being the outcast in the sense that I don't mind sitting back people watching. I like people watching. I like watching human nature. I like watching what people do. I like trying to understand the ins and outs and all the games. And it doesn't get me very far because when people uh, come to realize that I see them, it's like what's that? Is that old movie called They Live or something like that? Like where he sees beyond, like there's a lead character that sees beyond everything else, like with certain glasses or something like that. That's kind of like where I'm at as the outcast. I basically see beyond what nobody else sees, right? So no one else sees this kind of stuff, and I do, and I see this stuff. And once they identify that, oh my God, well, Mad Morgan can see what's truly going on, well, you get ostracized, right? You get ostracized. People realize their cover's blown. Their cover's blown, which unfortunately puts people like myself, you know, in a difficult situation because I'm not accepted into the fold, and generally the masses end up being the ones that are the victors because they look out for each other. No one looks out for the under. Well, I shouldn't say no one looks out for the underdog. It's usually another underdog that looks out for the underdog, right? So, you know, another underdog can identify another underdog, and they're like, yeah, 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 I know what the shit you're going through. It's that I got your back, and they help him out or her out or whatever the case may be. But the thing is that no, these sheeple, as I call them, are basically they herd together and give opportunities and breaks and you know free passes and all this crap to these other people part of the sheeple community. It's unfortunate. So let's go back, of course, to friends, right? Now, I've made my circle personally smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller only because I am a true believer in actions speak louder than words. I'm a true believer that if someone truly wants to be part of your circle, wants to be part of your life, they're going to make an effort. I'm not talking daily, I'm not talking weekly, I'm talking even months can pass, but they make an effort eventually to reach out. Say hello, check in, see how you're doing. You know, don't completely forget about you and push you to the wayside. They actually make an effort to make the time to reach out, even if it's something small, but they still make the effort. And not a lot of bullshit. Not trying to sell you something, not trying to, convince you of something, not trying to freaking gaslight you or anything like that. A genuine, hey, what's going on? How you doing? What's new? Oh, shit, I have people like that. My buddy CC is like that. Awesome guy. Like I swear we were like separated at birth. Like so similar in a lot of things, CC and I. But the thing is that actions speak louder than words. Don't give a lot of lip service. So the true friends are the ones that make the actions. They seek you out, right? And I understand life comes up, circumstances come up. We all have our own little inner circle. We all have our little inner workings and stuff like that. And it's one of those things that we have to realize and appreciate the fact that we all got our stuff going on. So not you can't always make the time, right? But people eventually still do make the time. It's not something that's just completely left to the wayside. They do eventually make the time. They do eventually come around. They do eventually say, "Hey, how's it going?" They do eventually do all that kind of stuff, which is good, right? Which is damn good. And it's important that they do it, and you do it too, right? You don't just leave it. You don't just leave it, you know, left alone. Like it's a two-sided thing. You make the effort to reach out to them. They make an effort, and even if months pass, it's all good. Now think about truthfully, how many people do this? Okay, not mutual friends, because usually couple friends are basically one's usually a friend with one of the people in the other couple and all that stuff like that. So it's not a mutual thing. You kind of tolerate the other person's partner, spouse, whatever the case may be, in the relationship in order to be part of the whole couple friendship thing. I'm talking about individually, right? individually your friendships, your associations with certain people. Now, think about it. Is it basically relationships strictly on convenience? Is it based on relationships based on, like, purpose? Is it, I mean, what factors dictate, what factors determine the the trueness, the essence, the how 100% is that a true friendship? Like, you actually enjoy doing stuff with these people, or you just make excuses to hang out, go for chicken wings, and like a beer, and basically try to convince yourself this person's a friend, you like spending time with them, right? And then think about how these numbers have dwelled. Do you want to be Mr. Popularity, Mrs. Popularity? Okay, that's fine. If that's your goal, if that's what you truly seek to balance yourself and make yourself feel important and worth something, okay, that's up to you. That's you. That is your medicine. That is what you need to do in order to exist. That is what you need to basically you know, be making it through day to day, right? And that's fine. To each their own. But what I'm really asking you is, how many people can you count on your hands that are true friends? True friends. If you call them up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you have an emergency, how many of them will actually be there for you? How many will drop everything to be there for you? Get in the car, race to where you are to help you out? How many people would do that? That's what you got to ask yourself. And I want you to ask yourself honestly. Think about that for 1 second. Because the older we get, those numbers dwindle, right? Those numbers dwindle. They do. And you really you really got to have to shift your categories of who's truly a friend, who's an acquaintance, who's just somebody you know, who's a colleague, who's an associate. And then exactly the example I gave is, who would drop everything at 3 o'clock in the morning if you called with an emergency to help you out? That's really what you really gotta determine. And then based on those people, then that's your actual friends right there. And you know what? Some of you have probably even fucked it up with people that would have did that for you, because you didn't want to nurture those relationships, because you didn't want to actually make the effort, because you couldn't be bothered, because you had other things on the go, because you were so important, because you felt like you were better than everybody else. You know what? Some of you fuck up those relationships that people, you know, were truly devoted to that relationship, and you just couldn't be bothered. It's a shame when you do that, because if you think about what I just talked about how many friends that you truly have that would actually answer the phone at 3 in the morning, and or will be there for you. I mean, honestly, those people that can honestly say that they have more than one handful of those people, I applaud you, because obviously there's something about you that you have at least 5 people at 3 o'clock in the morning that if you call looking for help, that they would be there for you. I tip my hat to you and I salute you, because I think that's friggin' awesome. But a bunch of you other motherfuckers, maybe you should make better choices and better relationships, you know, and better decisions. And stop thinking so much about your goddamn self, and start thinking more in community and more of the people that you turned your back on, that were there for you, that would have been there for you at 3 o'clock in the morning, that you pretty much didn't make the effort for. So I want you to think about that one. Just think about that long and hard, because that's your bad life decisions that are going to come back and haunt you. Because even if you have 2 or 3 names of those people that would help you out at 3 o'clock in the morning, that number is going to dwindle. With time, that number is going to dwindle, because those people are going to see you for who you are, and they're not going to be too impressed with you, and they're not going to want to help you out at 3 o'clock in the morning. you know? And then where are you going to be at then? You're going to have a lot less names on that list because people saw you for who you are, you know? So, try to be a better person. All around, I've been saying to you guys for as long as I can recall, be a better person. Make an effort. Be better. Be kinder. Help out other people other than just yourself. Stop looking so much at how it benefits you. Look at how you can help others. Add to that 3 o'clock list. Just saying. Just saying. You know? I mean, I've chopped my list. I've chopped my list down like you wouldn't believe, like a mofo. I have. Because I started taking stock and I started looking at all these people that I know and all these people who I put in the friend category. And I started looking at how much effort are these people putting in? Okay, and then I started looking at the bigger picture. How many of these have their own agenda? And it's sad to say how many people have their own fucking agenda, self serving for themselves, and not willing to help you out or have your back. That's pretty sad when you think about it. So that's when you really have to think. You really have to say to yourself, you know what? Yeah, I'm axing you, and you're out of the friend category. You're into the acquaintance, yeah, somebody I know category, and that's as far as you go. You know, I mean, you have to. You have to. Otherwise, you'll get walked on, and you don't need that. You want to get walked on, and fuck, getting walked on is no fun. So that's food for thought, or thought for food. I'm not sure how that goes. Food for thought. Either way, just think about it. Think about how many friends you truly have. I'm quite content with my own company, so I really don't care. I'm not looking to make friends. I never have. Maybe that's my problem when it comes to the professional workplace. I wasn't looking to, be everybody's buddy like some people are. I was doing my own thing, setting my own levels, setting my own, you know, everything, and basically not looking to freaking be buddy buddy with people. But still, at the same time, keep the peace, status quo, everything else. Yeah, I was willing to play the reindeer games as much as I had to in order to, make everything run smoothly. But I wasn't that guy that went around and said good morning to everybody. Fuck no. Because that's what I think the Gen Z call that tryhards. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I think it's a nice gesture, but how many people would reciprocate? How many people would do the same thing? How many people would go around and do the same thing as you do, you know, on their own efforts? Not because they felt they had to, but just because, you know? That's what it comes down to, right? So, anyways, if you fucked up relationships with people that would be there for you at 3 in the morning, maybe you still have time to salvage them. Maybe you still do have time, but it's going to take some friggin' unless the person's naive and dumb and didn't see through all your shit. There might still be time to reach out and make an effort and salvage that relationship. You never know. You never know. But that's up to you on how much it matters to you. But fuck, if you want to be alone down the road, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't bother. If you want to be alone, fucking nobody's got your back. Nobody to call at 3 o'clock in the morning when you need fucking help. That's fine. That is perfectly up to you. But if you can still salvage those people that showed loyalty and kindness and devotion to you because they felt that you were their friends, you might want to make that effort. Just saying. Just saying. Anyways, either or, know your self worth. Know your self worth. And, if you've crossed somebody, if you hurt somebody, make amends for it. Seriously. There's really no point in, being stupid about it. Anyways, all I got to say is life's too short. Life's too short. Make the effort, make the peace, make good. Anyways, I am done for this episode. I want to thank you very much for tuning in to today's episode of Car Musings. I'm your host, Mad Morgan. Um, if any of today's conversation, if any of today's episode sunk in, I hope it benefits you well. At the end of the day, this is only advice. This is only logic. This is only stuff that you know I've thought about. I try to put it out there to help out some of you that don't really think about these things, that don't really catch that angle, that think they got everything covered, that or think they got it all figured out, think they know better, and that's fine. That's on to you, but maybe there's a better way. But I'm going to leave that with you. Anyways, please check out themadmorgan.com. Share, support, do whatever you can. I appreciate it either way. I don't know how much longer. I mean, this year of 2026 has got to be better um, than 2025, and that's the goal. I got to go full out doing something because, yeah, I got to make some changes. I gotta do something because I don't know. It's getting to the point where, robbing banks doesn't seem like a bad idea, but the only problem is that there's no money in banks anymore, so it's kind of pointless, right? Anyways, that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Keep your integrity in check, and I will see you next episode. I am your host, Matt Morgan. This is another episode of Car Musings, and I am out. See you next episode. Bye for now.